Hello everyone, today is February 2nd, my birthday. Ha! And to celebrate, I decided to make myself a very special treat. On Entertainment for All Network YouTube, subscribe, I play a character called J.R. Hasenpfeffer. Hasenpfeffer, of course, being rabbit stew, and the character is a rabbit. So today, for my birthday, I am making rabbit stew. Hasenpfeffer. So I've got my ingredients here. And I'll go over everything to show you exactly how I make my version of Hasenpfeffer. This is a take on the traditional style. I kind of researched a lot of different things. Some recipes were really involved, so I just I improvised. But I have all the basics that are in Hasenpfeffer, and we'll see how mine turns out. So happy birthday to me, and enjoy the presentation. So making Hasenpfeffer. First step is your rabbit. This is a nice looking rabbit, and you may be wondering, and most of the time when you buy rabbit, it comes whole like this. So you might be wondering, what the heck do I do with a whole rabbit? Well, Hasenpfeffer, you need the pieces. So I am just going to show you really quickly how to cut up a rabbit for Hasenpfeffer. We have here our rabbit, and what you want to do is get right behind the first few ribs. The rib cage in the front portion of the rabbit doesn't have a lot of meat. So we're just going to take it from there. So there's your first part of the rabbit. A lot of people will save this and use it for stew, but that's what we're making is stew. So we're just going to keep it whole like that. And then you take the rest of the rabbit here and just go down. Follow the lines of the legs down when you're cutting. Okay, there's one leg. Got this line again down here, so just follow this as you're cutting. So now you have these wonderful rabbit legs and this beautiful rabbit shank. Now you can actually stuff this shank and roast it. But like I said, I'm making Hasenpfeffer, so I'm just going to cook this whole first, all these 4 pieces, and then break them up into smaller pieces after they're cooked. Every recipe I've seen for Hasenpfeffer calls for bacon. Well, I thought I'd go the extra step and actually do some pork jowl bacon. Because I didn't want strips, I wanted chunks. Because that'll be a lot more pleasant texture in the stew, but we'll see. So I want to cube it, so I'm not going to be too picky about how I cut it. For one rabbit, I think that's enough. Maybe one more. Don't want to overpower the rabbit with bacon. And I'm just going to cube this. Doesn't have to be pretty, obviously. Now, some recipes, people put pancetta instead of bacon. It all depends on taste, but every single recipe I've seen combines bacon with rabbit. So we'll see. And just make those bite-sized chunks, because those are going to be in the stew. And then this is ready for the first step of the Hasenpfeffer. We're just going to saute this, get all the grease, and then remove the bacon and cook the rabbit in the bacon grease. Okay, so now I'm ready for the next step. I have my bacon, jowl bacon, good stuff. Cheeky bacon. I've got that diced up, and I've got my rabbit cut up, and I also lightly salted and peppered it. Now normally I don't salt meat before I cook it. I don't salt anything before I cook it. I salt it afterwards because salt tends to draw out the moisture. But I'm dredging it in flour, so I've got some almond flour right here actually. I'm going to use that instead of regular flour, wheat flour, and we'll just see how that works out. But I'm just going to dredge the rabbit pieces and the flour, and then I'm going to put them in the bacon grease. So first let me get that bacon cooking. Okay, bacon is ready to come out, and then the rabbit will be ready to go in. Okay, I've got my little bunny parts here, nice little leg. Just going to dredge that in the almond flour, cover it up a little. Now I've never used almond flour for this, don't know how it's going to turn out, but I just, not that I'm intolerant to gluten, but I just don't like a lot of wheat in my diet. It's just not something I crave, not something I like, and sometimes it can just be a little overpowering. So we'll try this almond flour, get those nice and covered. I'm wondering if I should put some almond flour in the cavity. Nah. The almond flour is for the part that is exposed and is going to be browned. And I just have my shank left. This is such a beautiful rabbit shank. Oh my gosh. Look at that. It's almost like a manta ray. Ooh. Good coating of flour on that. So this is going to go into the bacon grease once I cook the bacon. Now we've got our lovely bacon grease, and I'm ready for the rabbit. Swirl and swish to get the bacon grease all around there. It sticks. And we'll just let as we're cooking, I'll be cutting up my shallots, my garlic, and my leeks. Alright, I have my ingredients for the sauce here. I've got my cooked bacon. I'm actually going to add some whipping cream to the sauce too. I've got my leeks, shallots, garlic, and I'm going to add some bay leaf. This is bay leaf that I actually grew. Yay! But leeks are grown in mud, so what you want to do is you take your leeks, put them in a bowl of water, give them a good squish and swirl. Let them sit there for a little bit and go back and do that again, because you're going to find a lot of sediment in the bottom of that water when you're done. You don't want that in there. That's a grit. It'll make your food gritty. So yeah. So once my rabbit, oh my gosh, you should see my rabbit. It is cooking. Once that is cooked, I will take that out and we'll start the sauce. Okay, now that the rabbit has been browned, we are ready to saute our vegetables. I've got my shallots, got my garlic, and those nice little leeks. That'll help to glaze it a little. Get up all those nice brown bits so they don't stick to the bottom of the pan. That's where a lot of the flavor is going to come from. So I've got my shallots, my leeks, and my bay leaf sauteing in the dregs. We'll give that a few minutes till they're translucent and nice and cooked, and then we're going to add some wine. Okay, it looks like everything's all sizzling nice. It's starting to get to the point where it's browner than what you want. So now I'm going to take my Merlot. I chose a Merlot because it goes good with meat. And I don't know, about a quarter of a bottle. Pour it in there. Get all that good stuff up there. Some people will cook the rabbit in the red wine. I've heard that makes it look like it's cooking in blood, and then the red wine basically turns gray. So I save the red wine till the very last. So this is to deglaze the pan. And then I'll just give this a stir. And once that comes up to a nice bubble, and we're cooking most of the alcohol out, then I'm going to add the cream. Oh yeah, one more ingredient. The rest of the rosemary. That'll tie in the flavors of the rabbit and the sauce very nicely. So yeah, just bring that up to a bubble. Check it out in just a second. Okay, I've got it right at about 7 on the dial. I don't know what your stove does, but that's medium high, I think. And now that it's all bubbling and most of the alcohol is cooked out, I'm going to add the whipping cream. Creamy. I'm also going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, but I get those from a salt mill and a pepper mill, and I need 2 hands to do that, so you're not going to see me do it, but it's in there. So stir this together, and then when that comes up to a bubble, we'll be right back. Okay, now that this is nice and bubbly, I'm just going to take the rabbit, and I'm going to scrape all those good little bits off of there into the pan. And we'll just scooch that all together. And then cover it. And bring it down to about 3. And we're going to let that, well, maybe, yeah, 3. And we're going to let that cook for at least a half an hour. In 15 minutes, I'm going to turn it. Okay, so I have my potatoes quartered, and what I have here too is I have some rosemary leaves. You can get this ground, but I prefer just to take a mortar and pestle, and this way, you crush it, and you get all those fresh oils and fresh aromas from that rosemary, and it's just so much more wonderful this way. So I can smell that coming up from there right now. Just give it a good twirl and grind, get all those little pieces broken up into little pieces, and then simply shake over your potatoes. Now I am going to leave a little bit for the actual sauce. These I'm going to pop in the oven at 350 until they're golden brown, and that's going to be the base of my stew. I'm going to spoon that Hasenpfeffer over my potatoes. So I've got the rabbit cooking in the sauce. The bacon I'm going to add at the very end after I take the rabbit out, just because I don't want a lot of grease. And then, oh, these potatoes are looking good. Rosemary, olive oil, salt, and pepper. Oh, yeah. So we'll just see how my version of Hasenpfeffer turns out. Okay, this is my Hasenpfeffer. I have my rabbit. I've got a nice leg. I spoon this nice, rich, creamy gravy over it on the potatoes. And of course, I've got my glass of wine. So cheers, everyone. Happy birthday to me. And here's your Hasenpfeffer!